piece up and running.
Very good.
Hopefully it will work. Hey, Jennifer, when you logged in, did it have a message about YouTube? Did you pay attention?
No, but I just got a message that said that it's being shared with other apps.
Okay.
And I had to okay that.
Tired. Hopefully it will. Hey, Jennifer, when you logged in, did it have a message about YouTube? Did you pay attention?
No, but I just got a message that said that it's being shared with other apps.
I don't know how to shut that.
Can you tell me if I stand over here, can you hear me still if I talk quietly or no?
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah,
You can?
There. Yep.
Okay, then I guess this mic did kick in. So I wasn't sure if I was using my iPad mic or this mic. That's good because I want you to hear me when I stand back there. If I stand over here, can you hear me?
Shut the volume off. That would have been fun. We could have done that the whole time. Like that echo going. People are like, oh, it's hearing voices. All right, well, we've got
subliminal, right ear, left ear.
In the waiting room. So I'm gonna go ahead and let everybody in. So yeah, that would have been fun. Just listen to the echo all night long. And you would never have known which conversation you were actually in.
It would drive me
crazy. Look at this crew coming in.
Oh, great.
Welcome, everybody.
Treat. What a treat. Oh.
It is, Stephen, it must be Wednesday night.
We're here. It is. We can set a clock on this timing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, so good to see everybody, those from far away and those that are, I don't know. Well, Catherine, you're probably the closest to me that's here tonight. But Sharon, you're probably the furthest away so far. Are you on your lunch break, Sharon?
No, I'm having a holiday from tomorrow, so I've got a day off.
Oh, fantastic. I think everybody should have a holiday for tomorrow. So
I'm going walking in an eco sanctuary.
Oh, fun. That's a lot of fun. Well, awesome. Well, we are very excited to have all of you guys with us. Super excited to have Jennifer with us, but because we always like to start with gratitude, Stephen, what are you grateful for tonight?
I'm grateful for this community and the sun that's still shining in the sky without a cloud above me.
Wonderful.
How about you?
Well, I'm grateful. I'm grateful that you guys can only see this part of my room because my office is a mess. And if Sulio is home, we would be having a different conversation. I probably wouldn't have been ready, but I've been doing a bunch of cleaning. So grateful for that, but just super grateful just for the world that we live in with this crazy internet thing. And so we'll get to learn a little bit more about Jennifer, about your story, but what are you grateful for tonight?
I am grateful for curiosity. That is a driving force. It brought me here and it keeps me interested in everything in the world and grateful for everything I get to take in.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I met Jennifer through a friend of mine. I think we spoke about this a little bit before, who is another Qigong instructor. And I met him primarily through tea. And he used to have a business called Wild Tea Chi. And I actually went to China to be certified as a tea sommelier, and unfortunately Tevye wasn't able to make it, so I was there with his partner. But then I don't know, Jennifer, I don't know, when did you guys do that workshop? A couple months ago, right?
I think started those in February. It went on for a couple months.
Yeah, so I saw something and they had whatever put out a request for a moderator that just in my silliness I volunteered for, but then Tevye was like, wow, we really want to make sure it's somebody that's a certified White Tiger Qigong instructor. And I was like, well, that's not me. So, but right after that, connected with Jennifer because I was super just fascinated by your story and just the more I got to know you, the conversations we had just seemed like a natural to have you join us here tonight. So excited to have you with us, and let's get this started. So our quick little preamble. Welcome to the Wild Tea Party. This is a space where tea and movement converge to bring harmony, connection, and vitality to our lives. Together we embark on a journey inspired by the timeless wisdom of tea and the flowing energy of Qigong. Thich Nhat Hanh reminds us to drink our tea slowly, if you have tea with you. Hopefully you're drinking it slowly and reverently, as if it is the axis on which the world, earth, revolve slowly, evenly, without rushing toward the future. Live the actual moment. Only this moment is life. In this spirit, each session, we will not only explore the mystery, mythology, and health benefits of a specific tea or herb, but also weave in the gentle practice of Qigong. Just as tea invites us to pause and savor life, Qigong helps us cultivate presence and energy and curiosity through mindful movement. Together, they create a synergy that nourishes both body and spirit, offering balance, clarity, and transformation. We are honored to have you join us tonight on our shared journey as we celebrate the simple yet profound acts that ground us in this present moment. We invite you to bring curiosity, your open hearts, and perhaps in the future a friend or two to share in this unique blend of tea and Qigong together. We'll steep ourselves in the wisdom of nature and the flow of life. So here we are. So Jennifer, I know that you and Stephen have actually quite a few things in common, from Pilates and Broadway and everything else. But I would just maybe tell a little bit before you get into all of your stuff, just about your sort of your non-Qigong life. You're a mom, and where do you live, and like who is this Jennifer Golden person?
Well, I will start by saying I never made it to Broadway. So, Stephen, that's very impressive for you. I stopped well before that. But I live in Chicago. I've lived here my entire life. Every time I've almost left, something has kept me here. And now I appreciate my roots here. I have 4 kids that are aged from 15 to 24. So that's been a big part of my life. I've taught Pilates for about 25, more than 25 years. And I've always done Qigong along with that. I started that right after I left musical theater. I started practicing Qigong because I was in school for a form of Japanese acupressure, as well as medicinal herbalism and Chinese medicine. And we learned Qigong that I continued to use personally, even though I was teaching Pilates and yoga. Personally, I would refuel myself with Qigong, and I offered those tools to my Pilates trainees once I began doing that, because I do think it's important for everybody to have a mechanism to fill their own cup.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've talked about it on this call quite a few times, and I talk to Lee about it all the time, is it seems like it's one of those things that should be mandatory, that should be taught in school at some point, right? Because it's like when I went through the teacher training program with Lee, when I was going through it, it just felt like I was getting an owner's manual for this body that I live in, right? And have access to all of these things and that are free, that you have access to at any given time. And I think that sometimes the more information you have, not necessarily the better, and it kind of goes back and forth. Like sometimes you get so focused on, am I doing this right? Am I doing that right? But then I think it's just relaxing and being able to spend that time and energy uh, on, the idea of putting your own oxygen mask on first, right? Before you help other people. And it's one of those things that I've never done Qigong and felt worse afterwards, right? I've never done it and it's like, that was a waste of time. Like I should have just watched Netflix for an hour, right? It's just like you're always getting more and more out of it. So just excited to have you with us. But I'm curious because Stephen, obviously, with a connection with Pilates. Um, Stephen, how did you originally get into Pilates, and I'm just interested in that merging that you guys both have, because it's not probably that unusual, but for me it's unusual.
Yeah, it's not uncommon for dancers, performers to, have Pilates become part of their life. And Pilates first entered my life in college. It was offered like a mat Pilates floor bar type of thing, but I didn't touch it again until I was traveling in The Lion King, and it was just something for me to do to make my body stronger when I was doing 8 shows a week, and also give me something to do when I was in places like Michigan and like in Detroit, where I didn't know anyone, and something to do outside of the show. I started taking class, and then I thought, oh, I could do this. I could teach this. And then I started getting certified. And next thing I knew, I was certified and was teaching. And I love what you were saying about that the Qigong is something that you teach your trainees because we all have to fill our cup. And it took me a while. I wish that I had Qigong in the beginning of my teaching in New York. It didn't come to me until a few years later. And I wish I had it even years before in my addiction recovery, because it's proven to be such a vital component. But you know, you get it when you get it and you make the most of it, and it's life changing. And that's why we want to share it with others.
Mhm.
Awesome. Excellent. Well, Jennifer, thank you so much for being here. I will turn it over to you. So use us at your will, whatever makes sense for you. But we are here to learn from you. So I will turn it over to you for the rest of the evening.
Okay, well, thank you. I'll tell a little bit more about my story and how I came to bring Qigong into Pilates world. Hopefully my neighborhood's not going to be too loud right now. I'll close the window if I must. But I had been, well, initially when I was learning Qigong and I just was using it for myself, I didn't think that I could get trained because I didn't have the capacity. I was already having kids to go to Asia and really dive into training. And I think at that time, it felt like the only way to do it was to dedicate yourself completely to doing that. Or I felt perhaps that was the only honorable way to do it, maybe. I don't know. I had some perceptions about that. So I just used it for myself. And I do think by doing that, with even though I was a teacher and I wasn't trying to teach this, it helped me cultivate the inner listening. And so I used it only for me and not to go outwards. And that was probably a good 20 years of using that. And I did have cancer. The first bout of cancer was in 2017, where it was just discovered in one breast, but I did go through double mastectomy and chemotherapy, radiation. And even though I had so many movement tools, Qigong was probably the most effective way to restore my movement, along with the other things. It was tremendous for scar tissue and probably just settling my nervous system and allowing myself to let go of everything that you hold on to in cancer, which applies to any other kind of either internal or external condition, whether it's emotional or whether it's a chronic disease. You have to let go of something in order to move through it and allow those blockages to move and flow. And then I really restored to my own self. I made a lot of changes in my life. I got divorced, leaving a relationship with someone who suffered with addiction, and finally kind of came into myself and said, he's not getting better. I'm not getting better in this situation, and I'm never going to heal from cancer here. So I flowed through that. And then a couple of years later, I began to have serious pain in my spine. And I was doing pretty intense, like boxing and very intense yoga practice along with my Pilates. And I'd felt injuries before, but because I feel I had developed so much inner listening, I just knew that something was not right. And I told my oncologist about it. She had an x-ray. Everything looked fine. There was plenty of space between my vertebrae. Everything looked fine. And I just knew it. I just would go inwards and I just knew something's really wrong. And so she ordered, thankfully I have a doctor that was listening to me, and she ordered more scans. And we discovered that I had tumors all the way from C7 on my neck, all the way down through my spine, in my low spine, my sacrum, my hip joint, my thigh bones, my ribs. I had just extensive tumor lesions and fractures throughout my whole spine. The cancer had spread all over my bones. So it was a stage 4 diagnosis, which was, I mean, tragic when you first hear that, because that's technically terminal. There's no more to go than that. And I went deep into Qigong meditation. I got very into, if you've heard of the book ever, or the psychoneuroimmunology field. And there's a wonderful book by a man named Bruce Lipton called Biology of Belief. Maybe some of you have heard of that. There's a few others there that kind of discuss the way our biology creates, or the way our chemistry, from our brain chemistry, our thoughts become our reality, become our body. And I 100% committed to that belief. I practiced bone marrow Qigong and every kind of Qigong I could find, but my spine was extremely limited. So I had to go deeper into the inner alchemy and the Neigong, the more internal practices, until I built it back. And now I'm very happy to say, after a couple years, I've been going through chemotherapy, immunotherapy. I have treatment as part of my life every 3 weeks, but I have no cancer in my body. The lesions are all healed and I have full range. I could do full back bends. I can do handstands. I can do everything again. And I strongly feel that my Qigong practice has been both physical and emotional healing. And I will say that now I am healthier in my body, my mind, and my spirit than I have ever been in the past. Because as soon as you get this in front of you, and perhaps some of you have faced this if you have any chronic illnesses, as soon as you get this sort of life or death situation in front of you, you realize, here's the spoiler, is that we're all going to die. We're all dying. None of us are living forever. So the only thing you can do is have complete gratitude for every day. And you know, we all probably have learned here that gratitude completely changes your biology. Gratitude makes you healthier in all aspects of your life. So I bring a lot of gratitude into my practice. And I think that's all I will say about my story. And instead, I'll start sharing some, I want to share a poem, and then I want to share a practice with you. And then I'm happy to have any further conversation about all of this.
Before you do that, Jennifer, I'm just curious. I mean, I have had a lot of friends that have gone through it, but I mean, you've gone through it, continue to go through it twice. Was there, like you said, and I know some friends that have terminal illnesses, and for some reason they seem to be more optimistic than my friends that aren't.
If you're not dead, you're alive.
Right, exactly. And so I would say every day above ground is a good day.
Yeah.
But was there a time that there was some depression or darkness that you had to get through first?
Yeah, because you can't ignore your feelings. You just have to alchemize them, right? You have to transform them. You have to process them. You have to digest them. You have to transform them. If you push them away, I think it becomes more of a problem. If you avoid them or if you compartmentalize them, because I think cancer is sort of a compartmentalization anyway. It's an internalization. And I'm not saying that, you know, we create our cancer with our feelings, but I will say that being the type of person that holds and internalizes emotions, creates an inner environment that cancer is more likely to thrive. You know, we all have cancer cells that our body handles all the time. And I know that I was internalizing a great deal of stress and emotion during those times. And I have a gene, you know, but we know, like epigenetics right now, we have genes, but we don't know exactly what flips a mutation on or off. Something in the internal or external environment flips it on or off. Could it be toxins in the food? Could it be internal emotions? You know, something flips it on and off, but it was very dark. When I first had this diagnosis, it was very dark in the beginning, for sure. But then you just say, I'm not dead.
Right.
So I'm alive. And, you know, hallelujah. And there's nothing more to say, because anything can happen to anyone at any given time. And most people walk around, and it's fine to do this, but most people walk around forgetting that life is impermanent, that everything is impermanent. Everything is in flux and in transition all the time. So we can't really count on anything, even tomorrow. There's really only now, only the present.
Yeah, I've shared that a few times. That one of my favorite teachers says there's only two things that you can know for sure. Everything changes, and the time of your death will be a surprise. To just mean not to be morbid, but don't take any day for granted, right? And don't live with resentments and regrets and all those other things. Well, thank you for sharing that. I didn't want to interrupt your
all
thought.
my relationships became richer. Like everything in my life became distilled, became more quintessential. And I just think there's room for everybody to live that way. It would be nice if you don't have to get cancer to learn to live in quintessence. So that's what I hope to share a little bit of. It's
Awesome.
joy. Life is joy and love. And that's what all this really is.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that. Appreciate that.
So I think I do want to start with this really beautiful Rilke poem that is from, it's called Let This Darkness Be a Bell Tower, and it's from his sonnets to Orpheus. Quiet friend who has come so far, feel how your breathing makes more space around you. Let this darkness be a bell tower, and you the bell. As you ring, what batters you becomes your strength. Move back and forth into the change. What is it like, such intensity of pain? If the drink is bitter, turn yourself into wine. In this uncontainable night, be the mystery at the crossroads of your senses, the meaning discovered there. And if the world has ceased to hear you, say to the silent earth, I flow. To the rushing water, speak, I am. If there was ever a more Qigong poem, I haven't heard it, especially about resilience and understanding the polarities of darkness and light, and allowing your breath and the space around you and your senses to guide you into alchemy.
Beautiful. Jennifer, what was the title of that?
It's called Let the Darkness Be a Bell Tower.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just such a beautiful poem. And so I'd like us to begin seated. I'm just going to move back a little bit, and please let me know if you can't hear me well. I'd like to start just thinking about the sacrum. So let's just rub your hands together first and warm your hands up. When it's daytime, I often start with shaking, but since it's night for me, for some of you, I'm going to make it more of a calming practice today. But get your hands nice and warm, and then place them on your sacrum and gently rub the sacrum. Consider the sacrum as the master bone, and begin to feel as though your breath directs to your sacrum. And once you feel that your sacrum is a little warmer and a little softer, allow your hands to move to your belly. And begin to allow the breath to fill your belly. Starting to slow down and bring your awareness to your pelvis, to your lower dantian, to your sacrum. And picture the breath saturating slowly like a sponge. As you breathe in, you feel the sacrum and the lower dantian slowly saturate as though your breath is seeping in. And as you exhale, let it naturally flow away. Invite a few more breaths like this. Perhaps beginning to feel as though your tail extends down, rooting into the earth. As you fill the cauldron of the lower belly. And now bring your awareness to the bubbling spring points at the soles of the feet. And imagine roots connecting from those kidney points down into the earth. And visualize how roots have two purposes. As they reach down, they're providing structural strength, integrity. But they also serve as a means to absorb nutrients and draw them up, energy up from the earth. So feel that energy flowing up from the core of the earth, from the nourishment of the earth, through the soles of the feet and the bones of your legs and into your sacrum and into your belly and your kidneys. And as you exhale, let the energy flow back down, anchoring yourself in stability and in calm and in peace. We'll take a few more breaths here. Allow yourself to get lost in this movement, the gentle movement of energy, mixing in the lower dantian and circulating down into the earth. Now we're going to do a central channel activation. So let's come to a standing position at this point. You can stay seated if that's more comfortable for you. And find your comfortable Wuji or Zhangzhuan stance, whatever you call it. The feet are going to be about shoulder distance apart. The knees are a little bent. And one of my favorite cues from one of my teachers is sit but don't sit. And once you actually feel those connections into the earth as we just developed, it's a little easier to do that. Now we're going to follow that and draw the energy with your hands up through your feet, continuing to guide that energy up. As we get to the collarbones, the end of our kidney meridian, we'll turn the hands, bring the arms up, and then flow the energy back down. We're going to begin a circulation. Many of you perhaps have done this movement. It's in so many practices. And as we do this, I'd like to tell you a little story about when I was a kid and my neighbor had a very small above ground pool. And we would love if we could get a bunch of kids in the pool and we could all start going as fast as we can in one direction and just going and going and going. Then we could get the entire pool to turn into a whirlpool and begin to move us. So I'd love for you to seek in this movement that as you repeat this motion, rather than you moving the energy also begins to move you. And we'll do this one more time from the earth upwards, through your spinal cord, through your brain, up to the heavens. And then we will reverse the direction and circulate the other way. Inhaling, gathering the heavenly chi and bringing it down through the central channel of your body, through your spinal cord, your bones, upper, middle, lower dantian, down through the legs, down through the earth, and circulating up again. And see if you can tune in to both directions of this flow happening simultaneously, like you're setting them both in motion. And then those flows in turn are setting you in motion. You can go at whatever speed or rhythm your body wants here. And this will be the last one. Then just take a moment with your hands by your sides, a small amount of space, like a bubble of space between each armpit, or as I've heard it said, a bow bun between each armpit. Breathing through your palms and your soles, and experiencing your connection between heaven and earth, with both of those energies intermixing in your belly and in your heart. Now let's bring your hands back to your sacrum and let's circulate the belt meridian. So we'll just begin circling the hips around. And go at whatever pace your body naturally finds. I like to think of what I call a yo-yo moment, where the yo-yo has to go at just the right speed to keep moving. If you go too slow, the energy stops. If you go too fast, it just lags and kind of trickles out. So find your rhythm to feel as though you're circulating the energy around the waist. And then switch directions. Right now we're doing about 6 to 8. When I do my morning practice, I try to do 9 each direction. But I think sometimes those numbers are arbitrary. Right now we're just doing enough. Let's do about 3 more. And now we'll move into spinal cord breathing. So I'm going to have you step your feet together to start this. I'd like you to draw the energy up from the earth once again. And as we get towards the chest, we're going to open the chest and make fists with the hands and step out to one side, opening your chest upwards and extending your spine, stretching your spinal cord in a back bend. And then as we exhale, step the feet together, bring your arms in, round your spine and empty the air from the front of the body. Squeeze it out, cleanse it. So when you inhale and fill, we step to the other side. You're filling with fresh chi. And as you exhale and come in, envision wringing out every cell from anything stale or stagnant, making room for the fresh chi, the fresh light to come in. And see if you can tap into the experience of the flow moving you as much as you are moving intentionally your energy. We'll do one more step to each side. And as we stand up, open the hands, bring them down, step back open to your shoulder distance stance. And let's gather the chi again. Think of gathering from the earth through the heavens. We're going to bring it down to settle into the lower dantian, where I'd like you to now form a chi ball. I'd like you to consider as you hold this chi ball how all matter, everything physical that we can feel, is really just condensed energy. If we break it down to its most microscopic levels, we've got lots of swirling electrons and active energy that's just been packed together. So I'd like you to explore that. And as you exhale, bring the hands closer and pack your chi ball. And then inhale, allow it to expand. And again, we exhale, pack, create more matter. And then as you open, create more energy. And perhaps as you do this, at your own pace, with your own inner sensing, perhaps your ball is getting stronger. And you feel a buzzing or a pulsing between your palms. And perhaps you're echoing this quality in your lower dantian, in your lower belly. And invite the chi ball to mirror in your lower energy center of your lower belly. Allow it to be as grand or as small as you like. And just play with this experience between your hands. And after this next one, we're going to turn it so it's top and bottom and continue to feel the expansion and the condensing of this chi ball. And if you like, the hand that's on top can come up in a tiger mouth position. So you close the fingers towards the thumb and then you condense it back down. Allow this sensation to build in your body, beginning to flow through your pelvis and your shoulders and your ribs, feeling the rising and falling, perhaps extending up to your head and down to your feet, and maybe even beyond that. Now turn your hands over the ball to do the other side. And then guide them back to the first side again, whatever side you had on top first. And we're going to evolve this directly into separating heaven and earth. So we're going to take them apart and your hands are going to separate from each other. The version I like to do here is to press the lower hand down and look back at it as the upper hand goes up. So we're separating the forces of heaven and earth and then gather them together into a fresh chi ball. And turn the hands around the ball to the other side. Inhale as you expand to the point where you now separate and extends beyond the head and the feet, separating the forces from above and below, and then gathering fresh chi. Right into the middle and around the ball. I like to bring my hand around the collarbone in the ear and then up. For me, that provides a nice fascial stretch, spiral fascial stretch through the body. But I know many of us have different ways that we practice this exercise. So the most important thing for me is for you to have the internal experience, however you practice the form. Let's do one more to each side now. Now bring both hands down. Once again, harvest the chi, gathering, and wash it over every cell. Fresh chi to every cell of your body. And take a moment to absorb what you learned from that form, how you feel from that form. And then place your hands on your heart. The next movement we're going to do is called parting waves. And it clears the fog away from the heart so we can see unobstructed with clarity and provide a comfortable home for our spirit to rest. So begin with your hands coming down by your sides. Let them float softly up to the sides. And then a soft push mountain hand, just a soft version of that. And then turn the palms up and gather inwards. And as we come towards the heart, we circulate the wrists and the hands go forward and we part the clouds in front of the heart. We inhale as we gather inwards. And we internalize. And we exhale, softly part, seeing clearly with our heart. And at the end, there's just the slightest moment of push mountain. And we come back in. And this is a movement that I really love to begin to feel that the movement is flowing me. And I am in a dance with the energy pattern that this movement invites. And we'll bring 2 more of these through our bodies. And the next time the hands go to the sides, they'll return down. And after a moment of enjoying this form in your body, We're going to return to a seated position softly. We're going to do an inner alchemy moment of meditation here. So bring your hands to your heart first. You can just hold them here, or you can rub if that's something that feels nice for you, that you're called to do. You can just focus your breath into your heart and feel the joy, the gratitude of the heart shining down like a sun over the rest of the land, shining with love, with gratitude, with joy, with calm. And the heart is our fire element. And as the fire burns, it creates the ash, which nourishes the earth. So slide your hands now to your left side, where your spleen is, and gently nurture your spleen. Perhaps feeling the golden light of our earth element, nurturing trust and openness, and allowing the qualities of the earth to radiate through your body, to saturate your flesh and your tissues, to run through your lymphatic system. And when we dig down into the earth, we uncover the metal. So slide your hands up to your lungs, place your hands on your lungs. The lungs are our metal element. They're like our mountain peaks. The top of the lungs come all the way up, even slightly above the collarbones, filling the entire upper part of our rib cage. We feel courage, righteousness, dignity, and a bright white light that moves just under the surface of our skin, protecting what comes in and what stays out. And feel this courage and this dignity as a force field around your whole body. The metal in the mountains attracts the water, attracts the mist as the clouds over the top of the mountain, which flows down our mountain streams. So slide your hands now down to your kidneys and gently rub your kidneys, our water element, feeling safety, feeling calm, feeling peace through your whole genetic line in the past and into the future. Nourishing your bones, nourishing your spinal cord and your brain, feeling a deep calming peace through your body, feeling safe and secure. And the water nourishes the wood. So now bring your hands to the right side, to the liver. And feel patience, gratitude, benevolence, decisiveness, and healthy determination. Feeling the deep roots of a tree and the flexible sway of bamboo. Feeling the leaves opening up to collect sunlight and feeling this powerful benevolence radiating through your body, winding through the roots, connecting through every other element, the leaves branching out to every other element. And allow this to permeate and branch through your whole body, through your tendons, through your ligaments, allowing a clear vision. And as the wood burns, it nourishes once again the fire. So bring your hands back to your heart and feel the warmth of that fire, as though now all of your organs are humming in harmony, in balance, like a beautiful symphony. Give yourself a moment to enjoy this inner harmony. Then as you're ready, allow your hands to come down to your belly. And then one final time, we'll gather the chi. And we'll clear away anything that rose to the surface, as though it just became a layer of dust that you could wipe away, leaving only the humming, glistening, healthy cells and organs and bones and tissues, healthy emotions, healthy spirit, grateful heart. Place your hands on your belly and store this practice deep in your cells, where you can tap into this feeling anytime. And as you're ready, you can allow this feeling to dissolve. Open your eyes. And let's all bring our hands to our hearts and share this feeling with our community here. I am incredibly grateful to be practicing with all of you. You are beautiful, beautiful people, and I'm so thankful to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. That was beautiful. Very, very good. I think I will sleep good tonight. It's very sedating, very peaceful. You know, doing that, it reminded me that I didn't know it was Qigong, but sort of started practicing Qigong through sort of visualization. When I was 10 years old, went to the doctor who sent me home because he thought I just had a bad flu, and then my appendix ruptured. And had to go back to the hospital. I remember just visualizing this energy, like in my mind, 10-year-old mind, it was like these little army guys going to go fight the poison to get it out, and sort of visualize that. And then did the same thing. I had nephritis when I was almost had to go on dialysis, but that same energy and exactly what you were doing, like just really trying to put the attention to the organs. So such a beautiful practice, and just so grateful that you shared that with us. So I think that your story is very compelling and inspiring, but you're also a very good teacher.
Thank you.
Very good teacher. That was wonderful. So definitely want to open it up to questions. I'm sure people have some good questions for you. So I think maybe the easiest is just raise your hand with a little raise your hand button. And we'll take some questions for as long as you feel comfortable answering the questions. But really appreciate everybody being here tonight. You know, when we started this idea of the wild tea parties, And the same thing with Chicovery. And Jennifer and I were talking with Stephen earlier that this is what Chicovery is all about too. It's like anytime that you need recovery, we all need our chi recovered at some point. And so whether it's from cancer, and I thought what you said earlier too is absolutely appropriate, that it's not just for cancer, right? It's the practice is to just be a healthy you. And then that's the best way to make a difference in the world and in our communities, and starting with our families, and as it starts to branch out from there. So so if you guys have questions, go ahead and raise your hand and we'll go through some questions. And anything else, Stephen, maybe start with you, any questions that you have that you want to start with?
Well, first, I want to acknowledge, say thank you so much, Jennifer. That was gorgeous. And there's so much love for you in my heart and also in the chat. Lots of appreciation. Um, yeah, it's just always so wonderful to study with another teacher and to feel another person's energy and to be guided on this energetic journey. So I so appreciate all that you bring to this ancient practice. Thank you so much. One thing that came to mind, this is even before the practice, just listening to your story, and just talking about what you experienced, and you were talking about the dark period, and I thought to myself, gosh, she went through so much with her body, and and she still had to raise kids, still had to raise kids, still had to work. Just it's remarkable what you and so many have done and have to do, you know. So I just wanted to say that out loud, just how it's a true testament of your strength and your resilience and resourcefulness. And thanks so much for just presenting such a beautiful example of that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Community, all of that is community. You know, I couldn't have done anything for my family or anything without community.
Yeah, it's actually how we close Chicovery on Saturdays, is say that the difference between wellness and illness is we, not I. Right? It takes, we weren't created to live in isolation, and especially going through difficult times like that.
Yeah. It
For
takes
sure.
a village. Takes a village for everything.
Well, any questions or comments? It could be comments. Hello, Chris.
Hello. Thank you so much, Jennifer. It was a pleasure to meet you tonight. And thank you for sharing the moment with us. Your comment about the pool when you were younger really resonated with me because I remember doing that same thing. And I will take that along to my practice where I can transfer that into feeling that flow and remember and kind of linking that to the pool. That was very interesting. But thank you for being
Thank
here
you.
with us tonight. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
There's one question in the chat that says, what does internalize emotions mean?
That means when you hold the emotions in and don't process them, when you direct perhaps anger, resentment, contempt, and you take them into yourself and you hold them into yourself. And for me, that actually kind of feels like cancer, like it becomes its own being that continually feeds itself, as opposed to alchemizing it. Now, when I did the 5-element inner alchemy right now, I didn't transform. I just wanted us to focus on the positive, even though I don't really think of emotions as positive and negative, but I just focused on those emotions. Whereas with the liver, you would want to transform anger into forgiveness, into benevolence, into compassion. But it's like holding the anger without transforming it. Does that answer that question? I'm not sure who asked that.
Yeah,
So,
Kim-
thank you so much.
yeah, you talked about that Bruce Lipton book. I've heard, I think it's Byron Katie that says that your biography becomes your biology,
Your biology, yes,
biography
biology.
becomes your biology.
Yes, yes.
Exactly.
Another, I think, Byron Katie quote that I like a lot is instead of saying, why is this happening to me, to say, why is this happening for me?
Yeah. Yeah, and what is it true?
Mhm.
Is it really true? Whatever that
And
story is you're telling.
without cancer, I don't think I would be right here right now. I mean,
Yep.
maybe I would have found a different path here, but it has brought me to a deep sense of purpose that I wouldn't have without cancer. So I can confidently say I'm actually grateful for cancer. I'm leaving on Friday to go to New Mexico, where I help to facilitate a metastatic breast cancer retreat for women through the hospital there. And this one is actually going to be all translated for Spanish speakers, where there's not a lot of holistic opportunities for this community there. So I just sort of feel like, what a fabulous life I've gotten here, all because of getting cancer. It's wild.
That's awesome. Sharon, you're on the air.
Oh, had to unmute myself. Hi, Jennifer from New Zealand. Thank you for the beautiful practice. It was what I needed today. Things have been hectic. I would like to know more about what you offer. Like, do you have courses? Where can I learn more about your philosophy for healing, that sort of thing?
Yeah, I will admit I don't have a ton. I have a website. I have a video library platform that's called Movement Web, where I do Pilates, Qigong, mix other movement modalities. Like I even do some kind of cancer fitness kind of stuff on there. So I try to throw in a couple of videos a week. Every week I teach live one group class in my Pilates studio, where I do the first half is Qigong, and then I move into Pilates, and all of those get recorded and go onto my platform. I have a cancer series through White Tiger Qigong that is available, and I'm doing a Qigong series for Cancer Exercise Training Institute as well. And I'm working on building more right now.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Sharon. Jennifer, Jenny asked, do you teach any classes on transforming stored emotions?
I have plenty of practices on it. Actually, on YouTube a couple years ago, I have a YouTube. It's also called Movement Web, but I think it's under my name too. I did a series over the holidays about alchemizing emotions. So it's like me by my Christmas tree, and I took on each emotion because the holidays are often very emotionally triggering for a lot of people. They're very joyful for many, but they're very triggering for some. So I think I have one for each element on there. I did those a couple years ago. So you could check those out. And I always like requests for videos. It kind of guides me on what I want to do. So maybe an inner alchemy transformative class is in the works now.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of Qigong is just that, is transforming those emotions, right? Is transforming the anger, or transforming the anxiety, or whatever it may be. And then there's also then the specific elements, and then the organ sort of energies that are very specific for each of those as well. So trying to transform like aggression into love, and so much of it. So I think that's a lot of, with Jennifer being here, it's just a perfect reminder of the whole purpose of what we're trying to do with Qigong, is to shine the light on other people and build a community of people that can be in support of each other, and make sure that, and Jennifer's in the Mighty Network, so she's in the community, so you guys can meet her, and Jennifer can put more and more of her resources and courses there. So we want to encourage you guys to support her as much as possible. And I think at some point in the future, between Stephen and Jennifer and myself and probably a few other people, would definitely would love to do an in-person retreat. Because I think even as you were doing some of those practices, like the Chi Ball is a good one. When we've done the retreats with Lee, there's always a partner one, right? Where you're very close and you're touching, and the amount of energy that happens. And Cindy Hamill, who's here, she did it with Lee, and you could see from 50 feet away, you could see the power that this guy had and just the chi, just that amount of energy. And so I think that the opportunity to practice and the technology and our ability to do this. I mean, Sharon's talking to us from New Zealand, like no latency, no, it's like she's just in
Yeah.
the next room talking to us. So there's the beauty of being able to do this online and around the world, but there's also something very transformational when you can have a Qigong practice in community in person with other people.
Todd, I'd like to share from that. What made me leave theater and musical theater is I spent a summer in Greece doing classical Greek theater. And the director there was teaching us about how to perform in these big amphitheaters. And he said, because you're in this giant amphitheater, it's not your facial expressions or even your voice that does the acting, it is your energy. So that the practices that we did, and I was a college student, and we were standing in these big amphitheaters, and we were moving ourselves with energy, and groups moving other groups, and it was palpable. And I came home from that summer, and I was more interested in the moving of the energy than I was of the acting. And I actually dropped, before the semester started, I dropped my classes and I started studying acupressure because I was inspired by energy.
Brilliant. I love hearing that. I love how the life just presents you those opportunities to just change your mind. Everybody, I posted Jennifer's practice in front of the Christmas tree in the comment.
Thank you.
So that'll give you that video, and then you can also subscribe to her channel too.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Well, any other questions before we say goodbye for the night? I mean, we're not in a hurry, so if you guys have any questions, feel free to raise your hand or just unmute your mic and just however the spirit leads, just jump out and ask a question. But if there's not, we can certainly wrap up.
I think I'll just say to finish, I love that you said like things are done for us. I say that to myself every day. And so you are a blessing that you're here with us today. And the true work, is transforming all that negativity and whatever emotional baggage we're carrying. But to be in the moment and to keep reminding ourselves that, whatever happens to us is for us for some reason. That helps me tremendously in my day. I hope that helps everyone else too.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. It's one of the things that they teach, if you guys are familiar at all with neuro-linguistic programming, NLP. One of the paradigms is that our challenges are our greatest gifts. Don't seem like it at the time, but they turn out to be absolutely that, gifts for us and gifts that we can share. For those of you guys that aren't involved or not a part of the Mighty Network, it's absolutely free to join. I put the link in there so you guys can join where we'll be promoting other events and other speakers. And Jennifer, feel free to post any of your courses or workshops, retreats, whatever else. But just so grateful for you and super grateful that we had a chance to connect. And I love your story and your tenacity and just your determination and mostly just your spirit for being here and sharing that with us tonight. So thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to have you. You're welcome back. You're already a part of the family, so you're welcome back anytime. And just wish everybody a blessed night or day wherever you happen to be. And look forward to seeing you guys again. Also, we post in the Mighty Network the Chikovery that Steve and I leave. we do leave afterwards, but lead on Saturdays at 10:30 Eastern. So for everything from recovering from drugs or alcohol, or a bad day at work, or anything that is on your mind or bothering you that you just need some help with. So encourage you guys to join us there as well. So Jennifer, thank you again. It's a real pleasure. I look forward to doing it again with you very soon. And everybody else, thank you so much. Thanks for partying with us tonight, and look forward to seeing you guys again soon.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody. Appreciate you all. Much love.